Good evening and welcome to this very special edition of the Sofa Sports News Show. We're talking football this evening with Mike P, Les and Dan from the Mandem Podcast. How you doing, boys?
Yes. What's going on, Harry?
We're good, man. We're good. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Just busy, reading on all the transfer rumours, getting excited about all the Arsenal players that we're not going to sign. The usual stuff. Let's boys, tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you guys do.
Yeah. I'll let you go first.
Go.
As you said before, we're the Mandem Podcast. It's just a podcast of four boys. Richie couldn't make it. We just get together. We always have like conversations within our WhatsApp group and when we meet up. So it's just a thing of putting that together and like giving it to people to hear, because we feel like we're quite funny, quite humorous, but at the same time we've also got things of like topical sense to talk about. So what not better to just start a podcast and give it to the people.
That's it. And so how long have you guys been doing it for?
About
Just under a
year.
Yeah.
Just under.
Nearly almost a year. It'd be a year in August.
What made you start it?
It was something that like I mentioned ages ago, and it was before like podcasts were like popular. So it was something that we kind of put on the back burner. But then we got like a few other projects that we have as well, and then we said like, why not just bring our personalities and character to podcasts? Because I guess there's value in it. We think that we're funny. We think that we know what we're talking about. So we thought, fuck it, let's put it out there and let people be the judges. And it's been.
I must admit, I've been listening the last few weeks. I do enjoy them. I put them on at work. They get me through nice hours. Get me through with the board and stuff. No, it's good fun. Sometimes I find myself laughing out loud in the office. No, but it's all good. Boys, let's talk a little bit about football. As you know, we're a football podcast. That's what we're focused on. Just so you guys know, I guess, our podcast started because two of us were arguing for days about one red card decision.
What was this?
This was actually not last season, the season before. It was early on in the season. It was a Chelsea game and Thibaut Courtois got sent off. Someone went round him. I think it was Lukaku went around him when he was playing for Everton.
Yeah.
Thibaut Courtois took him out and he was outside the box and he got sent off. And me and my co-host Alavi were basically arguing about this one for days and days and days. And eventually we just said, let's start a podcast. And it just went from there. And we've got some really good partners at the moment as well. So shout out to Shoot the Defense. They're a really good football podcast, and they were proud to receive media accreditation the other day. And they went to the Champions League final. And big well done to Still and the boys there. Guys, let's start talking about football. So, Mike, you're an Arsenal fan like me. What was your assessment of this season?
Mixed, man.
Obviously
not happy to miss out on top four and Champions League. But I think winning the FA Cup did definitely soften the blow. It's about silverware, I suppose, and I guess I'll take that over one season. I hope it'll be one season of not getting in the Champions League anyway. As long as we can hold on to our big players, Sanchez, Ozil, then I reckon next season we'll be all right. But yeah, mixed emotions this season.
What about you guys, looking at Arsenal from an outside point of view? Because I know you guys are Man United fans. How do you see Arsenal's season?
I'll let you go, Dan.
For me, it's an interesting season. I guess Arsenal missing out on Champions League is like uncharted territory. It's been a while since they weren't in it. So it felt like this would be like a time for change. And then a week ago, Wenger signed his new contract extension. I guess looking back on it, it is a decent season. One a bit of silverware, I guess, 4 years.
Yeah.
You can't knock that.
Yeah.
I guess Arsenal want to be competing and in the Champions League, which isn't happening at the moment. But I feel like from the outside, and being a Man United supporter who's seen change over the last 4 or 5 years, I think people should appreciate kind of what Wenger has done and is still semi-doing. But I guess if there's turmoil at Arsenal, it's a bit of good news for United because we've been through it, and I guess it's one person out the way, and hopefully next year we'll be pushing for the title or not.
Yeah.
Les, what are your thoughts on Arsenal?
Probably similar along the lines of Dan. I think whereas they're usually used to finishing fourth, they didn't manage to do that this season. But again, sort of like Mike said, silverware, so kind of a bit of a silver lining to not a very great season. But again, I think the whole Wenger in, Wenger out thing, it's sort of signified a time for change for Arsenal, which I think everyone sort of held what's the term, like a magnifying glass to the team, sort of picked out what was wrong, what was right. And I think towards the end of the season they sort of realised that now it's a time for change, and well, for their case, hopefully they get the change they want. But if they keep finishing fourth and fifth, I guess that's good news for United.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, for me, it's like you said, it's been a season of mixed emotions. I was absolutely fuming going into the last few weeks of the season because up until the last few weeks, I really believed that we were still going to make the top four. I really felt that we're going to be the ones to flop it and we were going to get in there. And I said it on previous shows. I was so confident. I had a Liverpool fan on here and I literally was going to battle with him because I was saying that they were going to bottle it, and now I look stupid. But the thing is, I understand what you guys are saying about it's a time for change, but Wenger's done it again. He's gone and won a trophy again. He's won 3 trophies in 4 seasons, and every time he gets to the point where you think he should go, he pulls something out of the hat, and you fall in love with him all over again. He's like Chig said on our show a few weeks ago from the Guna Eagle Eye. He says, he's like a granddad. He's lost it, but he still loves it. He just can't stop.
So we've got a bag of sweets for you.
You have to respect it, man. I know a lot of people say it, but going to a new stadium and having that debt as well, it is a big thing. And it's actually earlier, I was watching a Wenger interview where he was saying at the time they thought, okay, cool, we can move to a new stadium. We're a world-class team at the time. We could probably still make it happen. But at that same time, when we got in that debt, that's when like Abramovich came. Not long after, he got all this money competing. So it was like a double bang that we couldn't sort of keep up with. But he maintained it, to be fair.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He's maintained the standard at Arsenal. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's the standard that we want to see is another question, but he has maintained a standard. First time dropping out of the Champions League, it's not the end of the world. Man United have been out of it, and they're still able to spend big and get players in and start winning trophies again. And it looks like Mourinho's gonna get them back on the right track. Guys, you guys are Man United supporters. I'm going to put a bit of a controversial question out there because whenever I put this question out, Man United fans get defensive straight away. So I want to see how you boys react. Are you happy with this miserable football that Jose Mourinho plays? Is that what Man United represent?
For me, I've always, obviously, I've grown up watching United play attractive football, watch United turn teams over. And just as a fan of football, I like to see attractive football. But I think with Mourinho's style, even at Chelsea, people sort of said that, they're quite boring to watch. I've seen bits of that at United, but for me, it's getting stability with United. If we can continue to win in that sort of manner, then I'll probably have to accept that. But I think next season, I feel like I want to see a bit more flair in the way that we play.
Yeah. Do you think he's? Sorry, go on, Dan.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I'd agree with Les there. I feel like he gets a lot of criticism. He gets results.
Yeah.
It might not be attractive and like expansive, But I feel like that's what United needed, especially in his first season.
Yeah.
Coming off the back of like 3 weird seasons, which I don't like talking about.
Yeah.
But he's one stability there, which he's known for. We've got some good young players, attacking players. I feel like next year I want to see an improvement going forward. But I do like the stability that's there. I feel like that part of the game is like underrated and overlooked.
Yeah.
And there's an art to it as well. So I like what he's doing, but I want to see improvements next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason he gets so much criticism is because of the way he is. You know, the way he is with the media. The way he acts, getting up, walking out of press conferences, making stupid comments after games. Everybody knows that listens to this show that I'm not a Jose Mourinho fan. And the reason I'm not a fan is because when he first came to the country, he was arrogant. And at that time, I found it funny. I found it entertaining. And while he was winning stuff, you couldn't knock it. But in particular, in his last season at Chelsea, just before he got the axe, I thought he was ridiculous with the media. He was terrible. He was talking absolute rubbish, blaming everyone under the sun except for himself for what was going on at that club. And the fact is that Chelsea only really brought in 2 players this summer, and they literally ran away with the title. So how far was his team off of that? Not very far. It goes to show that Jose was part of the problem. And I don't know whether it was his attitude or what it was. He seems to want to build this us against the world mentality. And that's all good when you're winning. But when things aren't going your way, officials start turning on you, away crowds can be hostile. It makes a difference. It makes a big difference. I mean, I hate him.
I was going to say, what do you think of the current situation with Sanchez? Supposedly, a deal is going to be pushed through for City by the end of the week. Can you see it happening?
To be honest, I can't see it happening. And the reason I can't see it happening is because I think the pressure that Arsene Wenger has been under towards the back end of this season has maybe been that trigger, has been the wake-up call that he needs to realise that the game has moved. Football has moved forward. He has not. And this business of leaving play, you know, Robin Van Persie got to the last year of his contract. We had to sell him because if we didn't, we would have lost out on 30-odd million pounds. We got to the same situation with Nasri. We got to the same situation with Cesc Fabregas. Now, from one side of the fence, you don't want to see your club selling your best players. You never do. But from the other point of view, as a business, if you're running Arsenal Football Club, you don't want to keep Sanchez for another year if you're going to end up with nothing at the end of it. You know, that's what can happen if he goes on a free transfer. So I understand why the club would consider selling, but I just think if you're a manager with a desire to win, you have to want to keep the best players there, especially now that we're not in the Champions League. The only thing we have to attract players is other good players. And if you don't have that, what have you got? What's Arsenal got?
You can't let them go. I can't see, if he does, I can't see him going to City though.
Yeah, I think if he's going to go, he's going to go abroad, in my opinion.
Bayern is what the other club.
Harry, you mentioned that football's changed and obviously you've got the likes of like Man City and Chelsea. Do you think that Wenger making the 100 million for Mbappe? Do you think that's Wenger trying to now sort of put his foot in the transfer market and now spend like big money?
Well, to be honest with you, boys, I kind of think that the whole Mbappe bid is not a real bid. I don't believe that they're making.
I had that feeling.
Now, the reason I don't believe Arsenal made that bid, and this is something that I've said for years and years and years, and people criticise me for saying this all the time. Arsenal season ticket renewal deadline is tomorrow.
Yes, you're smart. Yeah, we've been saying that in our group.
Right. So Arsenal, they put out all these rumours. We're going to sign this player. We're going to, last year was Higuain. It's always someone, a big money striker. Get the fans on side, renew the season tickets, and then tomorrow you won't hear a single transfer rumour about anyone for weeks. And this is what frustrates me. I know you'll never get concrete evidence because clubs don't disclose this kind of thing. A lot of the time nowadays, from speaking to football agents, bids are made via telephone. There is no proof. You know, you don't really know what's going on. But I'll be very surprised if Arsenal made that sort of bid. In terms of about the game changing, Wenger's like struggling to just catch up with the game, and not because he's not a bad manager. I'm not saying that, but I just think a few tweaks and he could close the gap, because his experience has to count for something.
Yeah, of course,
I think he's a bit stubborn. Yeah,
I agree. Very stubborn, set in his ways. Wants to prove to everybody that his thing works. And in a way, you got to admire him for sticking to his guns, but not to the detriment of your team.
Yeah.
I mean, boys.
Harry,
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say a quick question. Next year, Europa League. Do you guys think? You guys should play your first team, play the kids, and also, what do you need to challenge for the title next year?
So for me, the Europa League is an absolutely nothing competition. I don't even.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying.
Mike sort of said the same thing. He's asked me to put out a team that not go out to lose, but
let's go out to lose.
Yeah, go out to get knocked out of the competition
as early as possible. Yeah.
Which for me,
go on.
I think maybe I'm biased because United have won it, but I still think it's a competition that has credibility. If you win it, then you're automatically in the Champions League. So, but I do see the side that it's a season that you're technically out of Europe.
Yeah.
And it gives you time to recoup and, in this situation, probably focus on trying to win the league or better their position.
I think that it's the only reason why it is good is because you get Champions League. If you win, which is always a plus. But for me, I'd rather not be in it at all. Like finishing 5th, the worst part of it was having to play Europa League. It's Europe's championship. I don't really want to be in that. But it is what it is, and we have to deal with it.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's a competition that doesn't interest me. I'm disinterested in it. We do our show on Thursday nights. This is awful news for me because I have to rethink that now. But it's a competition that doesn't appeal to me. It's got a second-rate feeling about it. Yes, it's an added bonus that you can now get into the Champions League via the Europa League, and that benefit wasn't there last year. That's only come into play this time, the automatic spot. So that's good. I suppose if you can't finish in the top 4, it's an alternative route. But I expect Arsenal to be in the top 4, and so I feel like if I was in charge of Arsenal and I took that competition deadly seriously, I'd be kind of lowering the club's standards, and I don't want to do that. I think there's been clubs in the past, just off the top of my head, Ipswich Town qualified for it one year via the fair play. Fulham have been in it. Middlesbrough have been in it. Portsmouth have been in it. These teams have been in it, and for them, it's a ride. These teams don't get to experience European football, and it's a really good and enjoyable occasion for them. But for a club with Arsenal standards, I won't be settling for that, no.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, I mean, guys, moving on, let's talk about Arsenal's North London rivals. I hate talking about them, but quite a portion of our listeners are Spurs fans. Spurs to say, but by Arsenal winning the FA Cup, because they've ended up with absolutely nothing again. How long can we keep hold of Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen, Danny Rose, these kind of players without challenging for trophies?
Harry Kane, a season or two, I reckon 2 seasons max. If they don't win anything, if they don't win anything, I reckon he'll go. If they start winning things, which to be honest, I doubt it. I think they might struggle next season, being at Wembley.
Wembley thing's massive.
I could see him going. Rose, same. Maybe even not this summer. Eriksen,
Carl Walker's looking to go.
Carl Walker's, probably going. I think maybe City. I reckon that'd be good for him. But Yeah, I reckon a season or two if they don't start winning anything for Harry Kane.
Yeah. It's a tough one because top players want to be at top clubs. They want to win top trophies. And I actually rate Harry Kane. And, I do rate him. I don't think he's as great as he's made out to be. And I think that's partly because he's British and he's got that British. You know, they tend to build you up to here and then knock you down at your first mistake. We saw Wayne Rooney burst onto the scene at 16 years old, got built up to be a hero, and slowly over the years they've brought him down and down and down, and picking on everything he does in the media. And I think that always happens with English players, and a part of that is because they overhype them too much in the first place. Mauricio Pochettino, do you see him staying at Spurs for the long run?
I don't know, man. I got my doubts. However, with the building of the new stadium, he's got young players. I feel like even though they've been in the title challenge, they haven't really been in a title challenge this year. So back-to-back seasons, they've been close. They've been the best of a bad bunch. And they've exceeded their usual expectations. But I feel he'd want to put on a proper title challenge, and also with White Hart Lane being built, I think he's there at least.
Yeah.
It seems like they're on the verge of something big, but then I guess like there's a finite time that these lot can hang around. So he may stay, but then his best players may end up leaving. I can't see like Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen came out today and said like if Barcelona come in for you, you have to go kind of thing. So they're already heads turning and people getting agitated. But I can see Poch staying for 2 seasons. The younger players, not sure, man. Hard to say.
Yeah, I think the Barcelona point's a really interesting one because there's a lot of talk about Hector Bellerin as well today.
That's come back around.
Yeah, possibly on his way to Barcelona. Now, the thing is with clubs like Barcelona and Real Madrid, they have this pull on players. They can pull players from anywhere because these clubs are not only huge, but they're successful. They win the biggest on a regular basis. And my feel for Spurs is that Spurs as a club have a fairly rich history compared to some, but Spurs in recent years, when was the last time Spurs won the league title? 1961.
Wow.
Now, if you're a player with ambition, unless this team are going to start winning titles, then what is the attraction? I'm sure they can't afford the kind of salaries that the bigger clubs pay, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrid. So what would attract you there? Now, you said about, Pochettino staying another couple of seasons. And as a football fan, I hope he does because he started to build something and I hope he finishes it. And we can really see what he's built over the years. Yeah. But obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I want him on the next plane to Barcelona.
I think with Poch, I think we're talking about attracting players. I think Poch might be the key to attracting players to Spurs. I think no one knows what they say when they have their meetings and their talks, but I think what he's done with the young players, sort of how he's turned Tottenham around and how, like Dan said, they are like title challenging. I think if they are to bring players to Tottenham, I think Poch will be probably like the selling point that brings them over.
Yeah, I think more than anything, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
He sort of has added a bit of end product to sort of haven't had that. So he seems to be getting the best out of his players.
Yeah, I agree. There's no denying that he's done a great job there. As much as it pains me to say it, he has done a fantastic job. Guys, if you was to vote for player of the season, who would you pick as your player of the season? Because N'Golo Kante won it this year, but there's been a lot of arguments about it. Reading through Twitter, I see arguments every day, in particular around that period of time when it was being voted. Who would each of you have gone for player of the year?
I'm torn. I'm actually torn between Kante and Sanchez. I'm going to say Kante. I'm actually going to say Kante.
Okay, Les?
I think I might have to go with Mike and say Kante. I mean, I didn't watch Chelsea massively this season, but the games I did watch, it's sort of like a pit bull. Like when the whistle blows, you let him off, and he's just running around chasing the ball. He's like doesn't run out of energy, and he's actually like a pleasure to watch. And when he gets the ball, he's not the greatest footballer, but you can see that he's trying. He does the long ball thing, tries to do the through pass. Doesn't always work out, but he's always working, always trying, and I think he's well deserved to win the award that he did.
He can actually kick ball.
Oh, that's like he's that's overlooked in his game. He's always got a pass on. He plays first time. Very intelligent player, and people just think of him as like a workhorse. But there's a lot more to him.
He's not just that nitty gritty player. You said Kante as well. There.
For me, a player that like is a joy to watch for me, is Victor Wanyama.
You like him.
Big fan. I know a lot of Tottenham fans like this year and possibly last are supporting Dembele, but I feel that Wanyama has taken him to a next level. Again, another player who is underrated for his passing, and like it's just a powerhouse in midfield. I remember Kante. I think he was just running right before they met Spurs at White Hart Lane. Came up against Dembele and Wanyama, couldn't get a touch. So I feel like he's been like a great addition for Spurs, and it'll be interesting to see how long they hold on to him.
Yeah, I think with Kante, the reason I choose him, winning the league with Leicester and being such an influential player at Leicester. And then there's all this hype about it. And then he goes to Chelsea and has the exact same season and then wins the title with them. You can't knock it. You can't knock it, man.
It's a level that is maintained.
You have to give credit where it's due.
So it's only within the player, and it's not just he's had a good season here. We'll bring him on, but then he's managed to do it differences. And he's delivered both times and 2 titles.
Harry, who's your player of the season? Sanchez has got to be like.
No, it's not even Sanchez because like I know I'm biased, but I'm not that bad. No, for me it's a difficult one because I find it hard to I think whilst I agree with everything you guys have just said about Kante, I find it a bit alarming that people feel that he was such a big reason that Chelsea won the Premier League. I think Chelsea won the Premier League because Antonio Conte found a system that worked. I think Chelsea won the Premier League because Marcos Alonso was a fantastic wing-back. For me, one of the signings of the season. He got goals, assists, defended excellently, raiding down the left-hand side all the time, very comfortable on the ball. And it's hard to believe that this guy couldn't make it at Sunderland previously.
For sure.
Then on the other side of the pitch, you got Victor Moses, who, for me, again, fantastic season. Victor Moses played the majority of his career so far as an attacking winger. He's had to adapt his role. He's had to slot into that wing-back role. Another massive signing that Chelsea made this season that people seem to forget about is David Luiz, the return of David Luiz. This guy left England a few years back, and Chelsea fans, as well as everybody else, couldn't wait to see the back of him. He was such a rash defender, mistakes galore. And I was one of the people that used to sit there and say, this guy is not a centre-back. But he's come back to Chelsea after, a couple of years away or a year away, whatever it was. He seems to have, learned a lot, and he's come back and he's a different player. For me, he's probably the best centre-half in the league at the moment. And whilst I like Kante, and I think he did have a great season, I find it difficult to say that Kante was the reason Chelsea won the league because there were other factors in that as well. Anyway, I've diverted from the question, but my player of the year would probably have been, let me think. I'm going to say Eden Hazard.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to say that is because I like players that can. I believe I'm a football purist, and I like talent, and I like class, and I like skill, and I like the players that get you off your seat. I like going to the Emirates every week, and I like it You know, when Sanchez gets the ball, I get off my seat. When Granit Xhaka gets the ball, I sit back on my seat because he's going to pass it to the left or right. So those are the players that excite me, and I think he's got the ability. Probably ability-wise, for me, he's the best player in the Premier League, and I just enjoy watching him play. I think there's been big moments in the season where he's popped up with really important contributions, and so I'm going to say Hazard.
He can just switch it on at any time. Any time. He must be a horrible player to play against.
Yeah, unbelievable player. What about manager of this season? Let's take Antonio Conte out of the context, because obviously he won the Premier League. He came in, you know, people had their doubts about him.
Yeah.
Let's take him out of the picture. And let's look in the bottom half of the table and say who would you say was the best manager in the bottom half of the table this season?
Allardyce, you know.
I was just about to say that.
Sam, I hate Sam.
I'm not a big Sam fan like that, but he done it again, man.
Yeah.
He done it again. He's up there for me. I think that might be the one.
Yeah,
Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, Mike's got my answer again. Big Sam came in the job halfway, sort of, less than halfway, took over, did what he had to do, and then thought, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm going to retire from management.
Yeah, he sacked it.
But the job that he did at Palace was a good job. Managed to keep him up. And everyone, Sam is known for keeping teams in the Prem. So he's again delivered on that.
I think a close second, or maybe the top two, Sam Allardyce and the Leicester. What's his name again?
Shakespeare.
He done a proper
That was a
good
sinking
job.
ship.
I mean, he came in and banged straight away like that.
Yeah.
They just started playing good football.
My view is that like this stuff keeps happening. I feel like players hold a lot of responsibility.
I was just about to say, I think
down tools.
Yeah, I think with Shakespeare, it almost seemed that when he took over, then the players started wanting to play again. And for me, that sort of left me with a bit of a bitter taste. It was down to the players that didn't want to play before. Now we've got a change of manager or coaches. Now we want to start playing. So I think I understand what Mike's coming from, but because of that bitter taste, I don't think I could say Shakespeare. But he did a good job, like Dan said. Leicester were a sinking ship, and he managed to turn it around.
I'm going to challenge all of your opinions here, as I like to do, because I don't think Sam Allardyce did a great job. I think Sam Allardyce walked into a team with that had just spent £30 million on Christian Benteke, had Wilfred Zaha, Andros Townsend, Johan Cabaye, a board that were willing to back him in the transfer market. Now, that for me is Sam Allardyce achieved what that group of players should be achieving, rather than exceeding the expectations. That's what my view is on it. If I'm going to say who I think done the best job in the bottom half of the table, I'm going to say Sean Dyche at Burnley, because often clubs come up and survive their first season, but the second season is always the tough one. And Sean Dyche has looked at it and gone, you know what, we struggle away from home. I'm going to focus on our home games. If we get our home form right, we have a chance of staying in this division. And that's exactly what Burnley done. And there were times during the season where I saw Burnley playing away from home, and I was convinced that they had one eye on the next fixture, which was a home game. Sean Dyche has used hardly any resource. Burnley are probably, along with Bournemouth, probably the poorest clubs in the Premier League. And he managed to keep them up for a second season run. So I'm going to go with Sean Dyche on that one.
Oh yeah, my two nominees is a toss at Hull. Paul Clement at Swansea.
I was thinking as well.
Clement turned around a struggling Swansea team who still have a bit of quality. With your Gylfi Sigurdsson, they got Llorente up top, which is mad. But he turned that around, and I think they'll push on next year. And I don't think they'll be involved in relegation battle. And Silva, it seems like he joined just a bit too late. Talented manager. He said if he was there at the start of the season, then they would have survived. And just going by their form, I possibly believe him. But I'm going to go Clement because Swansea stayed in the Prem.
Yeah, that's interesting about Marco Silva because I often rave about him on the Sofa Sports News podcast because I really rate him as a manager. Obviously, being from a Greek background, I've seen quite a bit of his Olympiakos team as well. And they were a very organised outfit. He was the manager, in fact, when they come to the Emirates and won.
Yeah.
A couple of years back. He's a very organised manager. He's a very tactical manager, a good manager, very shrewd in the transfer market. You know, when he first came in and put Jake Livermore up for sale, everyone went, "What are you doing?" Livermore and Snodgrass, arguably his two best players. But he realised that there was a bigger picture than Livermore and Snodgrass, and Hull City needed a squad to challenge for their survival. Unfortunately, they thought, and like Dan said, I think it's because he joined a little bit too late. I'd have liked to have seen him, you know, get a chance at a bigger club going forward. I'm a bit disappointed that he signed for Watford because I feel like he's going to face the same struggles next season that he faced.
He's more talented than relegation battles.
Yeah, and he won't be able to showcase that at a club like Watford. And the way Watford's ownership work, they chop and change managers every 5 minutes. So
yeah,
there's that as well. I mean, boys, it's been lovely chatting to you guys, and we should do it sometime for sure. You know, let us know your Twitter handles, guys, where we can listen to the Mandem podcast, how we can find it, and so on and so forth.
Yes, sure. Well, for the Mandem podcast, we're mostly active on Twitter, so you can catch us on @OnlyTheMandem. My personal Twitter is @MrLB89. And if you want to listen to the podcast, just search the Mandem pod, either SoundCloud or iTunes, and you will pop up straight away.
Mike, what's your Twitter handle?
Is @MikePLDN.
Dan?
Mine is Life as D Knows, and that's Life as, and it's DEEKNOWS. I always complain, my followers, man. I've got 45 followers at the minute. I feel like my views need to be heard. So, listeners, if you're feeling charitable, come on.
Yeah,
give your boy a follow.
Get him up, yeah.
He's like one of the guys we have on our show, Alavi. He's been on it from the very start. It's me and him that kicked it off in the first place. And he's just got Twitter now. And he's got 2 followers. One of them is Sofa Sports News and the other one is me. And he comes on the show.
What's his handle? I'm going to follow him now.
His SS is Alavi, ALAVI_SSN.
He's got 3 now. He's got 3.
Yeah. Was it SSN?
SSN, yeah. And he's looking for followers as well. So if anyone's feeling charitable and you're going to follow Dan, head over to Alavi's profile as well.
Sweet.
But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for joining us, and we'll definitely link up again soon for another show.
Yeah, for the new season, man.
That's it. I want to give a big shout out to some of our partners as well, to Greek Beat Radio, the community Greek radio station that broadcasts our show. Massive shout out to DJ Funksy. Still at Shoot the Defense, another fantastic football podcast. Check them out. Tag Pay, Elite Editorial, and of course the Mandem Podcast. Follow them on Twitter @OnlyTheMandem. And if you check us out on SoundCloud, Sofa Sports News, we will be resharing their shows from now on, and obviously you'll be able to pick them up from there. And that's all for this week's show. Good night, guys.
Nice one.
Yes.
Good night, Harry. See ya.